Hello, dear listener. By now, you've probably gotten acquainted with our episode on artificial intelligence-powered grief bots.
Deathbots!
If you haven't, you could pause this episode and listen to part 1 now.
Nah, that takes effort.
But in this case, you won't be too lost if you'd prefer to charge ahead with part 2 here, as part 1 was more about the history of grief bots.
And how big old computers were.
And ethical concerns around using pre-existing ones or having a bot custom-made to emulate your loved one.
There was a lot of stage building. But now the stage is set, buddy. So prepare to be on the stage. To watch the stage? Why did we need a stage again?
We're talking about ethical concerns vis-a-vis grief bots, how these abominations of nature / technical marvels can affect our psychological well-being, how you can have brand new arguments with your dearly departed through the wonders of technology, and more on this episode of
Death Party!
Hello, spooky friend, and welcome to part 2 of Attack of the Deathbots. Can AI help us talk to the dead? As with all shiny new technological miracles, it's still too early to tell if AI will help us heal or just open up a whole new subscription tier of existential dread. Some experts advise caution, and others are already pitching these bots to investors. Cambridge researchers have raised concerns that dead bots designed to mimic deceased loved ones' language and personality based on their digital footprint could cause psychological harm, especially if they are designed without care.
Cash grab.
For example, these bots might digitally haunt users, re-trigger grief, or create anxiety. What if you already have it? What if you already have it? Create even more anxiety. Just double it on.
Yeah.
Can you have anxiety to the power of anxiety?
Always put the word more in front of anxiety.
Yeah.
I'm just envisioning it being programmed weird and saying something really hurtful by mistake. Can you even imagine the likeness of your dead loved one bitching you out? I would lose my f***ing mind. That shit will haunt me forever.
Well, depending on the loved one, that would be an expected response. So the algorithm would be behaving in a predictable way in my example, which is one reason why I am not interested in this type of service. I am, however, interested in hearing the details of lawsuits which are filed in the future because users are going to allege psychological distress from some conversations with chatbots, which go sideways. The same research highlights how interacting with a highly accurate simulation of a deceased loved one might prolong certain phases of grief, making it harder for people to accept loss or move forward.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. It seems like using it in the first place would be like trying to delay the painful reality setting in, but then you're just on the hook for whatever they raise their fees to be each month until what? Until you're suddenly fine with your loved one being dead?
Yeah.
News for y'all that hasn't lost someone yet. I don't know that that's a thing that ever actually happens. So, or maybe I'm just more f***ed up and sensitive than other people, but I would be stuck with that monthly fee for eternity.
The monthly streaming subscription bills are painful enough.
Yeah.
I wonder how these charges appear on your credit card bill. Is it like dirty stuff where the company name is neutered to sound generic so you weren't embarrassed in front of your credit card issuer? Like, Applewood Industries Incorporated. It's probably not, I spent a janitor's annual salary to talk to a 65% accurate vocal reproduction of my dearly departed LLC. And just so we're not being completely negative about this whole thing, there are potential benefits. That is, if you have the unlimited cash it's going to cost to throw at these companies. Some users report that having AI replicas or avatars of a deceased loved one offers comfort, a sense of connection, or the chance to preserve memories, stories, or personality traits in a more interactive way than just, old recordings or photos.
Yeah, I can see that being the tempting part of the whole thing, but also how creepy is it to consider that the person you loved that you have this whole lifetime of experience and emotions and everything with, that they are so easily just clonable. Like, what even are we? What is human connection? Did someone program us and we're just algorithms in some creepy matrix and none of this is even real? I might need to lay down.
There are currently 342 million people in the United States, over 8.1 billion in the world. Imagining that every one of us is so unique and special is a nice thought, but to some extent we're all similar, and to some extent we're going to react the same way in certain situations. We all want love. We all want to be told we're special and we mean something to somebody. Even cold, heartless, vicious assholes want to think that their shitty legacy will live on after they're dead.
Yeah, Hitler just wanted to be told he was a good artist, that's all.
Currently, AI isn't able to say specific things back to us unless we program it that way in the first place. So, what are these conversations with the grief bots? You have to program a memory into your loved one's grief bot to be able to recount it back to you at the right moment, right? So it's kind of like having an index of memories and phrases that the AI is pulling from to be able to emulate your loved one. The key differences between the AI grief bot and reviewing, say, diary entries and reading things you recorded about your loved one are the span of time that has passed and the context. So the main allure of programming one of these grief bots, or customizing it, whatever you want to call it, is that quote-unquote human touch of tricking yourself into thinking this is happening in the present because you can have a real-time conversation with your loved one.
That part sounds okay.
And also it'll run you $15,000.
That part!
Yeah. But if we take this example of having a conversation with a voice emulation of your deceased loved one, and the difference between that conversation and going back and reading your diary, as soon as you're done reading your diary, that memory is going to feel further away because you know it happened however many years ago when you recorded it. If you finish having this AI conversation where you're hearing your loved one's voice, or a 65-ish% accurate rendition of it, then as soon as that conversation is over, it's going to feel a lot more present because you have the illusion that it just happened because it did. And when that conversation ends, you know, you can have it again anytime you want to, as long as you're still paying the monthly fee. So it seems like the difference in the example of reading a diary or having a chat with a grief bot is that the diary entry is never going to change, but you can have similar, if slightly different, conversations with the bot over and over again, which will make it seem more fresh and exciting and, for all intents and purposes, real.
65% real.
Yeah. Ugh. I hate this. I hate everything about it. I don't want to do it. Even if I had the money, I would never spend it on something like this. It's creepy. It's gross. It would be so easy for somebody like me to get really caught up on this and blur the line between the real memories of my loved one and the ones generated by these chatbots. I'm not saying this is the wrong choice for everybody, but I really can't see this working out well for me personally.
Yeah. I find it a little horrifying. Like, it's definitely a Black Mirror episode that some executive watched and thought, well, there's a lot of money to be made there, though, isn't there? But mostly just because once you start, I don't see the grief just melting away and you go skipping off into the sunset, feeling at peace and canceling your subscription. It seems a lot more likely that the process would get its hooks in you and you wouldn't want to let that relationship go. I mean, that's the point of subscribing in the first place, right?
Yeah.
And then whoever owns the company could just keep raising their rates till you're answering anonymous cannibalism fetish ads on Craigslist just to make enough money to keep your 65% undead loved one alive.
And then you become 65% because you're answering cannibalism. Yes.
Because they ate the other
35%.
35%. Math. If it wasn't for all of that, maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to have your memories blended up with a fake version of someone you used to know, since our memories are garbage anyway, and subject to interpretation and distortion over time. As long as the 65%-ish version isn't a shitty person, I guess. Lucky for me, I'm too poor to ever have to worry about making that decision. Woohoo!
I will say I have come around a little bit since part 1 of this episode to the idea of having a chatbot therapist, though.
Mm-hmm.
But that one's a little easier to swallow because if they're actually effective, and they are certainly a lot cheaper than human therapists, at least now, great, take those jobs. Leave all the therapists, social workers, all these other people that spend $250,000 to go to school, get a degree, and then are completely overloaded with cases and overburdened with debt and not making great money in the case of social workers. Yeah, go ahead and just take their livelihood away and give it to computers instead, because we're all going to be replaced by them eventually. But seriously, I've had some pretty mediocre to bad therapists that I kind of wish I could get refunds from because they were ineffective at anything beyond taking my money. So,
yeah. I expect that maybe the good ones will keep their jobs and the shitty ones will get replaced by computers, which wouldn't be the worst thing that ever happened to the job market.
well, that's a nice thought. And usually everything, when technology replaces people, it all goes great afterwards. It's all been working out awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there will be a point where it just will replace all of this.
One can hope. Another potential positive is that there's the ability to continue a relationship in some form, for example, to say things unsaid or hear the voice of the loved one again, which is often cited.
Yeah, also appealing. But also, man, what a slippery slope if things don't go how we want them to. It's like any new advance in technology. Sawmills. So great.
Yeah,
No more arduous labor of manually sawing a plank of wood in half.
real time saver.
Until the 12-foot saw blade goes flying off its hinges. Cars. What a miracle to not have to walk everywhere on these stupid feet that I grew. Until one goes plowing through a donut shop and gets broken glass on all the donuts.
No!
I know. It's really disappointing how things can be so great and so absolutely horrific all at the same time.
What do you have against your feet? What's so wrong with your feet?
Just walking everywhere. It's so much work.
It takes so
I'm
long.
exhausted all the time.
Stupid calories getting burned for no reason.
I could have grown wheels, but no. I just have these. Just one after the other. Flop, flop, flop. What a waste of time.
And speaking of injury, physical or mental, this all brings us to the ethical, design, and social risks of using this kind of technology. Consent.
We love it.
Remember when it wasn't really a thing yet?
Not so long ago.
One big concern is whether the deceased would have agreed to their data being used to create a grief bot. Many of the bots depend on data such as that from social media, emails, and voice recordings that were not necessarily intended for this purpose.
Slippery slope. Slipperier than the one they roll the giant wheel of cheese down.
The giant wheel of cheese. Hey, just when I was managing to stay focused. There is also the issue of transparency and boundaries. If lines are blurred in harmful ways and users form unnatural attachments to their deathbots, companies could monetize the bots to advertise to the users, rope them into more expensive subscriptions, etc., exploiting their emotional vulnerability.
Oh, God, I didn't even think about that, but of course they would. Of course they would.
Yeah,
Of course they would. Ugh. Picture the scene. You're halfway through a therapeutic deathbot session with your lost loved one.
Huh.
Your emotional wounds are deep. You haven't been sleeping or bathing, but with this new deathbot helping you, you're starting to make a little progress.
You're going to have to differentiate this from my regular life. How is this different?
You got into an argument before your loved one passed, and you haven't been able to forgive yourself.
True.
You take a deep breath and apologize to the deathbot. Try to explain yourself. Try to let it go. The 65-ish% likeness of your great-great-great-great-grand aunt squints back at you from your computer screen with kind eyes. It's okay, honey. I knew you were under a lot lot of stress when I was dying, so I didn't take what you said personally.
Oh.
You start to let out a sigh of relief, but it's cut short by what she says next. But what I do take personally is you buying that cheap one-ply toilet paper.
Oh.
Didn't I raise you to take better care of yourself and your guests? That's why I was buried in a grave filled with Downy Soft Kirkland signature brand toilet paper.
Oh my gosh. If it means so much to you, I'll buy the toilet paper. I didn't know. I didn't know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. Ooh. And that is a horrific example of our next point. AI's impact on the grieving process. It is often nonlinear and complex. Introducing an AI version of the deceased might disrupt certain healing processes, either by delaying acceptance, generating hope for the loved one never leaving, or by causing emotional confusion when the bot doesn't behave as expected or makes mistakes, or chastises you about your toilet paper purchases, which, I don't know, that honestly doesn't not sound like some of my friends' parents, but I'm pretty sure it's still not the version they want to spend time with after a death in the family. And then there are the more vulnerable populations, children, people experiencing mental health complications, or those already isolated or emotionally fragile may be especially at risk of harm.
Peh, corporate America doesn't care about them. Move along.
And as usual, we have some bright minds working on all of this, and regulations and guidelines are being proposed, but I'm looking around here, and it has not been my experience that the brightest minds are the loudest, so we'll see where we get with any of this. But researchers and ethicists are calling for design safety protocols and regulatory frameworks to ensure that these systems are built responsibly. This includes making sure users understand what the AI can and can't do, what data is used, providing easy ways to disable or retire such bots, and ensuring the rights of both the deceased as data subject and the bereaved. Just send them all to Acapulco. They'll be so happy there. Just set up a nice little retirement community for the bots. It's like when the family dog dies. You're like, oh, I went up to we had to send him to the farm.
That sounds like a whole nother episode of Black Mirror. Like, you create these bots, but then they actually have, like, they're sentient. So then when people are like, okay, I feel better now, thanks, bye. Like, there's all these family members that are just like, what do we do now? And then
Still doing Thanksgiving or...
Yeah, or whichever company throws the most money at this the fastest will just do whatever they want to do and make enough money to hire a giant legal team by the time someone is hurt because of it. And then when the class action lawsuit finally takes place, everyone who suffered psychological damage or was injured at the hands of the corporation will get their $12.82 gift card that expires in 6 months to make up for it. Don't forget to spend it fast on one 15.6006240 fifths of a therapy session with that shitty therapist you hate.
Justice at its finest. There have been suggestions of restrictions, i.e. only adults use them, clear indication of this is AI, possibly consent from the deceased prior to death to reduce risks, but yeah, we'll see where we get, I guess.
I am so optimistic.
Me too. But because this is all emerging as we speak, there are things we still don't have good data on, such as the long-term psychological effects.
My favorite.
Most studies or commentary right now are speculative or short-term. We don't yet have longitudinal data showing how grief bots affect people over time.
Everything over time tends to trend badly.
Jeez, Miss Negative Pants.
I don't know if these qualify as pants.
Jeez, Miss Negative Culottes. What about... Cookies? Cookies don't trend badly. Cookies are delicious.
Even cookies.
No.
They used to use butter, and now they all have palm oil, and they're gross.
Yeah, oh, damn it. That's true. Well, some cookies have gotten better.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe this will be an exception.
I guess most cookies have improved if we include the 18th century when people were adding chalk and lead dust to bread to increase their profit margins.
Yeah, that's the spirit. Look at you being all positive.
I did it.
There's also the variability among users, such as how its effects differ depending on one's personality, cultural background, the type of relationship with the deceased, how the death occurred, how accurate the replica is, and other factors along those lines.
Ugh, so many factors. Thinking about it's making me tired. I already thought about so many things today, and now this. How dare you?
Sorry. So in the end, it's complicated, as grief and death always are. The possibilities for both help and harm are numerous and expansive.
And expensive.
These AI ghosts, these digital resurrections of the dearly departed, do have the potential to comfort some people. That much is apparent. They could provide a final conversation or replay a voice you weren't ready to lose. That sort of interaction is something that could facilitate the grieving process for a newly bereaved. But for others, it could keep the bereaved stuck in the space between grief and healing, where their loved one is almost alive, almost gone. And when the illusion cracks, when your AI parent suddenly forgets your birthday or lets you know about a terms of service update,
Or rattles off an ad telling you to switch toilet paper brands.
the heartbreak could wash over you all over again.
And the scary thing to consider is these aren't really ghosts. They're products.
The scary thing is that they're not ghosts.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love ghosts. They're not scary.
I know you do.
But corporations,
Ooh,
that's another story.
hide under the covers.
I wake up screaming. These products exist because somewhere someone figured out how to make grief billable. Big tech doesn't profit off of comfort. It profits off of data. So maybe the bigger question isn't should we build a better ghost, but who's cashing in when we do?
Still, the desire to connect, to remember, to reach for something lost, that is deeply human. There's nothing wrong with wanting that. The key is knowing when it's helping and when it's actually delaying healing. Because in the end, grief isn't something to solve. It's something to live through.
And if you can make peace with that, congratulations. You won't need to pay a corporation for a fake ghost because the real one is already walking right beside you.
Aww.
Or is it like,
A ghost! Well, it's a loved one or family member, so I mean, I guess it could be both.
mm-hmm.
Aww.
If you like us, if we haven't traumatized you yet, if you want more of our bizarre dad joke brand of whatever this is, then help us help you get more of what you want by giving us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcasts. It helps weirdos like you find us. We have a Facebook page and we're on Instagram, Blue Sky, and TikTok if you want to see our amazing cover art. We try and make one for every episode.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
It's hilarious because it's insensitive towards people that are just
Oh, please burn all of this after we record it. This can never see the light of day.
yeah.